Welcome to a stream, our very first retro stream on Twitch. I think I've got everything set up okay. As some of you might or might not know, due to really unfortunate circumstances that were not our fault, we have been unable to stream to YouTube, mostly due to a misunderstanding of fair use appropriation on a video clip on ARG Presents, which we will go into more detail with our next show. But anyway, we're going to be on Twitch for the time being and maybe forever, because Twitch seems to be pretty awesome in a lot of ways that benefit people that want to stream live. So anyway, if you're just joining the stream for the first time, my name is John Bodefkarschaller, and I stream from various retro systems from time to time. I try and do everything on actual hardware. As you can see to my right or left here, I've got the Atari 1200 XL. This system is in fact in front of me, literally right there, and the screen upside down right there. So I'm going to be streaming some Atari 1200 XL games. We're going to start with Pooyan. So this is a very famous arcade game from 1982, I believe, and I think that the Atari version was released soon after. We're actually playing this game on this week's episode of The Coco Show, but I wanted to compare it with other platforms, and so I'm playing it on the venerable 1200 XL. I will say that on the Atari, the game looks much more arcade-like than it does on the Coco. This is actually a pretty, I mean, obviously it's not arcade perfect, but it is not bad. And if you don't know the story of Pooyan, the story of Pooyan is that there are wolves that are coming to take your piglets, and as Mother Pig, your job is to destroy these balloons so the wolves fall down and to their doom. So I didn't really discover Pooyan until probably I was in high school when I first discovered MAME for the first time. I still remember the first arcade game I ever played on MAME was a game called Pingo. And actually a host of ARG Presents, Brent, came over to my house and set up MAME on the family computer. And it was incredible. I'd never seen anything like emulation before, so it was super cool. Now, of course, you've got several things conspire against you in Pooyan. You've got the initial barrage of projectiles thrown by the foxes. Oops. And then if they reach the ground safely, they ascend the ladder behind you, and can reach their snouts out and get ya, and take your picture, as Sir Mix-a-Lot would say, although maybe not. Hey Jackie, there was no show yesterday. There will be a show tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, probably around 11:30 or noon Eastern time. I had a school event I had to go to. I'm a band director, and my band played at a football game yesterday, and so we were unable to record at our normal Friday evening time. So a couple things I like about Pooyan is that it's sort of overly animated. You've got your piglets that are controlling the pulley system. You've got you've got your foxes hanging out. Now this is the second round of the game, and this works the opposite way. What you have to do is you have to get these balloons out of here before. Geez, I should have used my ham. I've always called it ham, although I guess that's a weird thing to call it. But I should have used that to knock everything else down. Which I'll show you how that works. If you go up here and so you use the ham as a kind of a bomb, and it kills everything in its path. You know, all the things. There we go. It's very difficult to get a whole wave of enemies. At least I find it difficult. I will give this is the rare arcade game that's actually easier than any of the home conversions I've tried. I can play the arcade version and get to that second round almost immediately without dying, and the home versions are much more difficult. We are going to be streaming from Twitch for at least the next 90 days. We've been banned from YouTube streaming for the next 90 days. So it stinks, but who knows? Maybe we'll like Twitch better and we'll make the switch permanent. It just really depends on how much of an audience we can build here on Twitch. I know Amiga Bill has great success doing his streams from Twitch. And there are advantages in terms of the back end. There are some things that are kind of neat that Twitch does that YouTube doesn't do. So you can see that when that wolf snout is out, you will, if you touch it, it's game over. But when it's pulled back in, you're okay. So I guess he's really kind of blowing, like he's blowing your house down or something. Yeah, and it's over. I'm looking over at the my other screen here just to kind of inspect to make sure everything is still running okay. I don't think we're having any trouble on the stream. Of course, if somebody, Jackie, since you're watching, I guess that means everything's going okay. See, that was horrible. All 4 foxes got through, or wolves got through, whatever they are. So they're going to be climbing up here, and this is going to make my life not easy. One thing you can always tell an Atari 8-bit game because it has a very distinctive font. You've got your bold font that looks just like that in every game. And then the font at the top of the screen also looks the same. All right, we'll see if we can use our ham to good effect here. Nope, I didn't time it right. Oh. One more. Ah, come on. Nope. Oh boy. Right at the last minute. Okay, so now we go on to this second phase. And there may be a third phase. I've never gotten there. I've never beaten this, so. Oops, I just wasted my ham. Not off to a great start here. The white balloons take 2 hits to knock down. Okay, let's try and not mess this up this time. We'll give this to Pingo. It's got a varied soundtrack. We've got different songs. There we go. All right, one got up, but that's not the end of the world. All right, let's see if we can get... Ah! Oh, so. Oh yes. Boy, that was a close call. No, it's never a good idea to hang out at the top of the screen, because if that ham comes out, then you can use it without meaning to. Okay. That's interesting. That white balloon only took one hit to pop. I'm not sure why that is. Come on. Oh, man. You don't get as rapid a fire as I would like all the time. There's another big wave. There we go. I'm using an Epix XJ 5000 or 500 XJ, which was called something different in the UK. I can't recall what it was called, but it's a fabulous stick unless you really have to push fire a lot, because your index finger will become fatigued because it's a trigger squeeze mechanism. I don't know what that clear balloon is, but it's not good. All right, this is going to be the end. All right, so yeah, so that was Pooyan. A good game, a very good game. All right, why don't we try something else here? A Speed King, thank you. Was it made by Conix, Duncan? Am I just misremembering that? I want to try a game called Caverns of Mars. This is a game that we played on the very first episode of ARG Presents, back when I used to be on that show. I'm doing it partly because I really like that game, and partly because I want to see how the color. I'm using a different capture device. Yeah, it's still not perfect, but it's better. It's much better than the other device I was using. Basically, I have an option to use something that will give me a picture without the scan lines, the vertical scan lines that you see, but it's not nearly as sharp, and the colors are more messed up. So this looks better. So this is a game that was made famous by a project called the Atari Program Exchange. Hey Picard, you're neither. Wow, we started. I guess you're right on time. I'm just on game number 2. I'm going to be streaming until about 40 more minutes or so. So I plan on doing about an hour today. It's Atari 8-Bitomania here. But anyway, the Atari Program Exchange was a program invented by the Atari Corporation to promote development for its computers. After several years of keeping its development tools literally secret and actively discouraging third parties for producing games for its platform, Atari decided maybe that wasn't such a hot idea, and instead decided to open up the platform to anybody. And they made various tools and things to make programming easier. And they also decided, I ran out of fuel. They also decided to publish games that were sent to them that were of quality. And this was the first program that was submitted through APX that actually got a real commercial cartridge release. So pretty cool. I'm actually going to switch sticks for this one because I already feel my finger getting tired as I ascend from the cavern. We'll see if I make it or not. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to switch over to the monster stick here. What am I doing wrong? Okay. That was a practice game. Now I'm using my trusty monster basic stick. This is obviously the fire button is pretty loud on this, but it's much easier on the finger. How are you, Picard? How are you, Duncan? Everything going okay these days? So Caverns of Mars is one of those classic shoot the fuel to get the fuel dealios. And as you can see, there are ships that are flashing F here, and if you shoot those, they also will give you fuel. But your main task is survival in these sections. You do want to shoot some of the fuel, or you will run out. And the hit detection on these sections is sometimes a little wonky. Oh, jeez. That was a dumb mistake. Oh, that's awesome, Picard. What kind of computer did you get? Oh, man. I'm normally not this bad. I'm out of practice. I will say that the music or the sound effects in this game are not the best. It's basically just a series of hisses behind the behind your motor sound. The motor sound is fine. It's just sort of the other things. Solora Fellow home computer. That sounds pretty wacky. Oh. My bad. Okay. So now we've got to escape. The enemies have disappeared. And all we have to do is just maneuver our way back up. It's like the end of, or the beginning of Super Metroid. I'm very excited. Jason Warrens informed me that he has completed the operation of repairing a PAL Amiga 600. Oh, I've made it. I made it to back before the big explosion. So I'm entering Cavern 2 now. You can see the same sort of font as on Pooyan there. You know, the Atari, these Atari computers, this line, was released, I think, in 1979, designed in 1978. So it's really just 2 years newer than the Apple II. Yet it is just such a fantastic machine. I mean, so far ahead of its time, it was mostly hampered by Atari's refusal. You know what? I think it could be my stick. I might have something messed up here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think I had my up button. Was there's a thing where you can map up to the second button on this stick. I think I'd done that accidentally because I wasn't able to go up, and that was a problem. Okay. What is it? Is it a clone of something else, or is it some sort of Finnish Osborne clone? Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, yeah. We're going to talk about that on the show this week. Ravi, I actually haven't watched that yet. Thank you for reminding me. I put it in our news to talk about, and then I forgot to watch the video. Yeah. You definitely should try to go, Duncan. That Germany show seems great. Duncan, are you going to be able to make it to Amiga Ireland this year? The Video Technology Laser 200 210, which I don't know what that is either. Made it. Hey man, that's fine. That's cool. All right, so that is going to do it for Caverns of Mars. I was just playing this to test the color output. It's still not the same as what I'm seeing on my screen. The Atari does not output a normal composite signal because it's so old. The standard didn't exist basically when it came out, and so but this is the closest thing I found that to approximate what I see on my monitor here. Oh, he mentioned one being planned for the UK. Let's try Pingo. Yeah, I think 9/10 of shows like that is finding a person that is willing to take on all of the risk and all of the financial responsibility with little to no glory and lots of people complaining. If there's one thing I learned from Amiga Ireland is that Erla does all the work. He takes on all the responsibility, and he gets very little credit for the amount of work that he does. He is a man among men. Bingo! All right. So, Pingo is, like I remarked before, it's the very first game I ever played on MAME. The very first emulated game I ever played. And in Pingo, what you have to do is destroy the enemies before they destroy you. I think this was probably ported to almost every system under the sun. It's one of the few games that I've actually played on my Apple II. One of these days, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to pull out the Apple II again and see if I can make anything happen. I got an SD card solution for the Apple II. It's actually both for the classic Mac and the Apple II. There we go. No bonus. Jeez. It gets hard in a hurry. You really need a, not that I'm making excuses for my poor play, because I'm also just horrible, but having a 4-way gate makes a big difference as well. If you destroy all of the, maybe this is another way you can win. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about Pingo, but it's possible that if you actually destroy all the ice, you can win as well. But that might be impossible to do without, because there's constantly more enemies spawning. This is not what we want. Okay, so you just. Oh, I see. The amount of eggs are at the top of the screen there. That makes sense. That's frightening. You see that. Has it started to get cold where you guys are at yet? Has winter started to move in? Oh, jeez. Run away. So you're saying there's a big difference in climate change between northern and southern Finland? I can believe that, since it is a very long country. Nice. It is very satisfying to get one of these all the way across. It's sort of like scoring a goal from across the field, you know? I'm not really getting a whole lot of bonus action here. Oh, there we go. I feel like I've done respectable for my first game of Pingo in a couple of years. At least I'm having fun, right? Oh. Alright, last man. Yeah, here too. All the colors are changing outside. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but at least in West Virginia, we are lucky to have a great variety of autumn colors. So if I look out my window here, I can see, you know, all kinds of yellows and reds and just beautiful things. So, rain, rain, rain. I was very lucky today when I took my kids to the high school to play at the competition The rain held off. It was supposed to pour today, and I'm so glad it didn't, because that would have been miserable for everyone involved. Jeez. If anybody has any games they would like to see, feel free to shout them out. This is, like I said, this is kind of a test run, making sure I understand how everything works here on Twitch. So we're playing classic arcade games. Why don't we try some Dig Dug? Nope, we are off YouTube for the next 90 days, and so we'll have to hopefully we'll be able to use this by this opportunity to expand our audience into Twitch. 3D games, yeah, there's a game called Rescue on Fractalus that is 3D. Why don't we try that out? So this was a game that, well, we'll see if it works. That's usually the signal of death. Yeah. We've got multiple versions of every game we can try, though. Rescue mission. Rescue. Boy, maybe not. Maybe that was the only one, and it doesn't work. This flash cart is sort of funny. Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be called anything else. So, sometimes it just doesn't work. You know, the games just aren't configured correctly to run on it. Oh, here we go. We want this R16 file. This is going to work for us, I bet. Oh, yeah. So not only is this a 3D game, but it's also got a sweet intro. Crank up the... So there are two famous Lucasfilm games that were released for the Atari 8-bit computers. Rescue on Fractalus and another game called Ballblazer. Ballblazer being another 3D game. It actually was released on the 7800, and the cartridge contained a Pokey chip, which the Pokey is the Atari sound chip that was... it's the Atari equivalent of the SID chip. And so the 7800, at least for that game, could have some decent sound. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So what we are doing is we are trying to locate our downed comrades, And we have to contend with these guys that are trying to blast us out of the sky. So as you can see, I mean, this is, you know, the frame rate is not horrible. It is a pretty convincing, I think it's pretty convincing, sensation of flight. And the idea is once we destroy enough of these things, I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, that's pretty impressive, the way that thing, the scrolling, it's not a sprite, you know, that scrolling shape comes up to you. Okay. Now, one of the things that I can't remember exactly is how to land. I know at some point you do have to land because you've got to rescue people. And that's the idea of the game, is the rescue on Fractalus. I'm just going to try and crash on purpose and see what happens. Okay. I may have to look up some keys. Okay. So L is what lands you. Okay. And... oh, that's neat, Duncan. Yeah, I know. I hate the all of these vertical stripes is artifacting from the capture card. So that is, I do not see that on my monitor. I just don't have a good way to capture video from the Atari. Let's see here. Just going to look up the keys here real quick. Okay. After you land, okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So what I've got to do here is I've got to turn off my systems. When it says when a pilot is in range, this key will put the ship into an automatic landing maneuver. If your altitude is too high, you can't land. After you land, use the S key to turn off your systems. So, turn off the systems. Okay. I don't think that I've landed in the right place. I think I've got to get closer to where I need to be. So, to launch... maybe if I just hit break. Hey, I got a high score. Let's try this again. This is definitely one of the highlights of the system. This is whenever people talk about games that made the Atari 8-bit, it is it's always Rescue on Fractalus is always listed. Okay. too high. Circle back around again. There he is. See him there flashing? Okay, now we're going to turn our systems off. The pilot is in range. Okay. Turn off the airlock. Okay, pilot's in. Now, oh, there's no mothership. Okay, how do I... Sorry. The only thing I can't figure out is how to take back off. Okay, well, let's turn the systems back on. Just looking for thrusters here. It's not B. Huh. There is a way to toggle the sound between the built-in speaker and the cassette port. That's kind of neat. Okay, so maybe it's just the, yeah. There we go. This game is so well designed. Like the way that the explosions work, you know that you've hit. Okay. So my systems are on. Pilot should be in range. Or maybe he's further down in the valley there. Yeah, there we go. Open the airlock. Let him in. Turn the systems back on. And blast off. Whoops. Whoops, I shouldn't be landing. All right. And Anyway, so that's rescue on Fractalus. That's the idea. You do that over and over again, and apparently at some point you blast back up to the mothership, and then you go on to the next stage. So pretty neat. All right, what else? What's in MISC? Nothing. That was easy. I'll show you the other impressive 3D game, which, I mean, there might be more, but these are the ones that I know about. Ballblazer. So this is a soccer style game. It's best played with 2 players, but you can play it with 1 player. Pretty cool title screen there. Hey. So I mean that really, I mean, I've seen, you know, stuff that looked like that on the Amiga before, and so the Atari was capable of a high res mode, but it could only display a couple colors, and that's the downfall. I mean, you can have stuff that looks super impressive in just, you know, shades of gray. All right, here we go. So you've got the ball here, and you've got the enemy. However, I believe that the enemy is not currently controlled by another player right now, so we should probably reset. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to play. So I'm on the top. Right? Yeah. And the opponent is driving towards my goal. He just scored. Okay, try again. So I've got control. All right, just scored. So the thing that's impressive, there's 2 things, of course. So one is the in-game music, such as it is, and it's just the speed of the scrolling playfield for an 8-bit machine is pretty good. Pretty good. Oh. Ah. I think so. Oh, we ran out of time. So yeah, what do you think about this, Dunk? You can also while away your time just kind of cruising around with the while the thing is flashing. Of course, this game with 2 players is much more fun than. Pretty late release, 1987. Yeah, there's chips aplenty. You got to remember that the Atari 8-bit line was designed by Jay Miner, and so he was all about the custom chips. So there is an Antic graphics chip, and the Pokey sound chip, and there's a thing called a CITA chip, which is responsible for drawing things on the screen as well. So yeah, there's there's a lot of stuff going on under the hood beyond just the normal processor, which I'm trying to remember what the main processor was, just your generic processor for the Atari 8-bit. I can't remember. All right, we got time for one more game. Trying to think of something else that really impressed me. Let's look at the T's. Weird. Huh. I don't know what would cause that, Duncan, unless that's just, part of the thing. Oh, actually, I'm glad that we chose T. This is a game that I think has appeared on lots of different platforms, but I think that the Atari version is quite special for being good. Let's see if it works. I don't think it's going to work. Find it down here. Nope. Taxicab Hill. Let's see what that is, just for fun. It's an Antic game, so. Okay. I need to answer a phone. Pick up a fare. Oh. Oh. That's not good. This is more in line with what a lot of Atari games are. Not particularly impressive from a graphic standpoint, although I'm almost sure that this is probably written in BASIC. No, yeah, this is not a GTA for sure. Although, it does feature more background music than most Amiga games. Oh no! Get out! Jeez. So far I've got $0 here. Oh, I can't even get there from here. Oh, come on. Well, I want to try this one more time. I want to at least pick up one guy. This is really a nightmare on all levels. This does not control well. It's it's a unique perspective. I'll give you that. Like, there's not a whole lot of games that are like that are from this perspective. I don't even know what you'd call this. It's like all the perspectives in one. It's a little bit side-scrolling, or I mean, it's a little bit sideways. It's not really isometric, but it's weird. Okay, I got a feeling. No, no. No, why did you do that? Why did you not go down? Oh my gosh. No. All right. I will never play this game again. Taxi, whatever it was. That was no good. That was no good. Guys, thank you. I know the crowd has not been huge, but Picard and Dunk, thanks for joining in on the stream. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to build an audience on Twitch, to be honest with you. I don't know if our scene is really, because we're not famous like Amiga Bill, and we're not playing the modern games that are so popular on Twitch. So I don't know if we'll be able to get people going on this thing, but this is where we're going to be for the next 90 days. So yeah, it's just going to have to be. We'll just do what we can, and hopefully things will. People will follow us over bit by bit. And so, but anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Saturday, and I will see you on the show tomorrow. We're going to start probably 11:30, 12 o'clock noon, sometime around there, and we're going to record all 3 shows: Amigos, Our Sinclair, and the Coco Show. So it should be a good time, fun afternoon. Hope to see you there. Adios.